This is the Darui cell phone PCB ultrasonic cleaner, model number DR-DS20. It is a good ultrasonic cleaner. If you want to purchase this one or something even better, check out the links in the video description. Whatever it is you end up investing in, make sure that at the very least it includes these three features, otherwise your results will be far from optimal. You can skip ahead to the part where I demonstrate how this works, but I encourage you to watch the entire video so that you'll have an understanding of why it is so important to operate these correctly. Without the right instructions, you can cause more harm than good, and our goal is to get phones working again, right? So let's get to it. If you're planning to work on liquid damaged phones or perform micro soldering repairs, a good ultrasonic cleaner should be on your list of essential equipment. You see this mess? All the rice in the world won't fix it, and for the most part, putting a phone in rice is about the same as using meditation techniques to holistically heal it. You'll probably be wasting your time if you try to explain that to anyone who believes in the magical properties of rice, so as far as I'm concerned, it's easier just to let that one go. Now, time is of the essence. The sooner a wet cell phone is properly cleaned, the less damage you'll see from corrosion. Of course, convincing someone to pay for liquid damage repair when no symptoms are present is not an easy thing to do unless they've had to deal with a dead cell phone before. We're going to start by filling this up with distilled water. We want to make sure we reach the fill line on the inside of the chamber, otherwise you can cause damage to the machine. So always make sure you hit the top of that little fill line that's on the inside. And also be sure that you're using distilled water, not purified water, not spring water, definitely not tap water, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So what we're going to do is measure how much liquid it takes to fill up that top line on the inside of the chamber. All of these are slightly different, and you can't really assume that if it says it's a 1.5 or a 2 liter ultrasonic cleaner that that's exactly what the fill line is going to equal. So we do want to make sure that we get the right ratio of distilled water to our cleaning solution. And you can see I'm opening up my second bottle of distilled water there, so we're going to go ahead and fill this up. Now, I started at 1 liter because that was an easy number to multiply. We want to get somewhere between 3 to 5% concentration of our Branson EC formula cleaner. It is formulated especially for cleaning electronics, so you don't need to put jewelry cleaner or alcohol or anything else funny inside here. There is a solution made specifically for cleaning logic boards. Now, when I poured the 1,000 milliliters or 1 liter into the chamber, you're going to notice that it came up a little short. So I am below the fill line, and because the water will evaporate over time, it's a little better, in my opinion, to go above the line, if anything, rather than below, because we're going to lose some of that over time unless we put some sort of watertight lid or airtight lid over the top of it. So I went just a little at a time, kept adding basically 100 milliliters until I got this to the point where it was right at the top of the fill line. On this machine, at least 1,300 milliliters is what it took to reach the top of the fill line, so we can do some very simple math here and come to the conclusion that what we want to add as far as solution for 3% will be 39 milliliters. Now, if we want to be entirely accurate, adding 39 milliliters to 1,300 milliliters will not give it exactly 3% concentration. In order to hit that number on the head, we would have to first remove 39 milliliters and then replace it with the solution. You don't really have to go to this level of detail, but if you're only going with 3%, which is the minimum, we want to make sure that we do reach at least 3% concentration. So I'm just going to pour out 39 milliliters of distilled water and then replace it with our Branson EC fluid. And this will come in one of several different types of containers. You can see on this one what they did is they took a larger container and kind of broke it down so it's not even labeled, but when you buy this on the shelf, it's very easy to recognize because they have a white bottle with a blue label and it states very clearly what it is that you're purchasing. You can buy a quart or a gallon or whatever you choose to. And because it's not exactly inexpensive, we try to use this as efficiently as we possibly can. And you can see now I'm just going to kind of work through here and pull some water out and dump it back in. This isn't really necessary. When we turn the ultrasonic machine on, it will mix that solution in, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. I just wanted to rinse out my little measuring cup there. All right, so we'll set this aside for the moment. And I am going to place a towel underneath the machine. As I mentioned earlier, once we get this thing going, there's a good chance you're going to spill some water, so you want to put this in an area where you're not going to be getting your other electronics wet, obviously, and of course keep it away from children. If someone drags this thing off the counter and that water on the inside is 140, 150 degrees, they're not going to be happy if it gets spilled on them. All right, so we've got the power connected. It's time to turn this thing on. And the first thing we want to do is make sure that our temperature is set correctly, and you can see an indication there on the right that tells you how warm it is, and we want to run the cycle here. If you hit start and degas, this is very important. We want to remove any molecules of air that we possibly can from inside of the water, and I'm going to show you right now what happens if you skip this step or you use tap water. Now, if you want to test your ultrasonic cleaner and see a process called cavitation, what you can do is just put some tap water in there, just plain old water, stretch a piece of aluminum foil around a wire frame that will fit down inside of the chamber, and turn that thing on. And when you do, you'll see why you can actually cause a lot of damage to a logic board if you don't operate this properly, because what's happening is those ultrasonic frequencies that are being sent up against the logic board on the inside of this chamber end up causing small bubbles of air to explode on the surfaces that they're formed up against. And if you've ever seen a propeller blade, you'll see what this process does over time. Now, as I set this inside of the chamber and run it for a little while, this aluminum foil is going to start to develop holes, and you don't want this happening to anything that you're trying to repair for obvious reasons. So at the same time, this will allow you to double check and make sure that your ultrasonic cleaner is functioning the way that it's supposed to. And of course, when we get finished here, what we want to do is dump out this tap water and make sure that we don't use this to clean phones. We need to have a degassed solution, and we definitely want to add the Branson cleaner inside here for a number of reasons. One is to remove anything that's stuck onto the logic board, and also to aid in the evaporation process, because as you can imagine, as soon as we get this thing out of the chamber, we want to get it dry as soon as possible. And you don't want your logic board or motherboard that you're working on to look like that beat up piece of aluminum. Once we've completed the degas process, we can go ahead and shut that feature off. And I'm actually going to stop this, and be very careful when you take the lid off here. There's usually going to be some condensation stuck to it, so that stuff likes to drip all over the place if you're not careful. Make sure that you've reached the desired temperature inside of your chamber. If you leave the lid on, it should take about 30-45 minutes. One last thing to remember before you put your board in the wash, and that is our biggest clue to problems that develop on a cell phone are physical evidence of corrosion. So you should document this in as great a detail as possible. Make sure you get your board under the scope and search for any and all signs of corrosion, so that if you or anyone else in the future has to work on that phone, they know exactly where to look. Once we wash it, you'll have no evidence of where the damage might be. Now we're going to take our old nasty iPhone 4, or is a 4S logic board, and we are going to position it so that the ultrasonic waves are hitting the front of the board, and then about halfway through the cycle we'll flip it around. Now the times that you want to put this in will kind of depend on what it is that you're doing. Now remember, we are going to be putting some pressure on this board, so more is not necessarily better. If I've got something that's heavily corroded, I'll generally alternate it on from one side to the other 2 minutes at a time. And if I'm just trying to remove some flux from something that I was soldering, I might do 30 or 45 seconds, and that will usually be enough to remove most of what's stuck to the PCB. Now, so that I don't have to stand here and hold this thing, I've kind of rigged up a way to use my self-closing tweezers here to just kind of get that clipped on a safe spot where you're not going to damage anything. And I'm going to hang it inside the chamber just like this, and I'll kind of keep an eye on it. But if I had to have my hands free or answer the phone, I wouldn't have to stand here and babysit this thing. And once again, after we've set it through for whatever period of time we think will be sufficient, we'll flip it around and hit the other side as well. Alright, we're going to speed this up a little so you don't have to sit through it. but total time on this treatment was about 3 minutes, and at that point we're going to go ahead and lift this thing out. We can shut off the sweep and the ultrasonic feature and take a look at this board. It is looking much better than it was when it went inside. Now obviously this isn't going to clean off everything, but it's certainly going to make it easier for us to make some progress and to remove most of the residual corrosion, and we will take a look at it under the microscope here shortly. The first thing we want to do is just kind of towel dry this thing, get the majority of the solution off of it. Now, as I stated earlier, this solution is actually designed to aid in evaporation, so if you wanted to, you could set this thing down and probably hit it with some compressed air and get it relatively dry, but we want to make sure that it's 100%, so just for demonstration purposes, I want to show you what we do next, and that is going to be putting this thing into an alcohol bath. So we're going to get some isopropyl alcohol. 99% concentration is what we're going to be working with, and we want just enough of this in a small container so that we can submerge the board, and then that way it will displace most of the moisture that is still stuck inside there. And you're probably saying, why didn't he remove that metal shield before he put this thing in the wash? And I did that for a reason. I wanted to be able to show you the differences between treating a board with a shield on it and treating a board without a shield on it. So we'll take a close look at that in just a second. If you have a rubber glove, you might want to use it. Alcohol is not really great for your skin. We will definitely want to have something to sort of brush this thing down with, so you can get one of these horsehair brushes from MG Chemicals, or even a toothbrush will do the trick. Whatever you prefer, they're very similar. And we're just going to go around and kind of like you would brush your teeth, make small circular movements or motions, and don't scrub too hard. If you do, you might end up scrubbing something right off the board. But as you probably also noticed earlier, as soon as I put this thing in the ultrasonic tank, things started falling off, and that is due in part to the corrosion, and also because I've been messing around on this board and taking things off and putting them on, and all sorts of other stuff way back in the day. So we're going to go through here and just gently scrub this and try to remove any residual corrosion that might still be stuck on there. The ultrasonic will help to work that stuff loose, so it's a lot easier to remove. I'm just going to kind of tap this off, and once again we'll towel dry it, but the main thing is we want to make sure that we get all the moisture off. And now that we've got alcohol in this thing, we just need to remove the alcohol, which is a much easier thing to do than drying water off of a board, especially if it's stuck underneath that shielding. If you have some compressed air on hand, that'll be your best friend. I happen to leave mine somewhere else, so I am using a heat gun. You'll notice though I'm not getting this thing hot enough to where it's going to burn my hand, so we're just going to get it nice and warm so that the alcohol will evaporate from all those areas where it can do so from here. And again, the one spot that's going to be the exception to that will be underneath that shield, and that's the one thing that's different about iPhones these days. It's a little more difficult to remove the shielding, and they don't have these little protective rubber pieces underneath them, which I'll show you in just a second. So instead of dealing with that underfill gunk in the past, we had little rubber spacers. And let me pull this shield off so you can see what I'm talking about. So first off, you can see we definitely have some moisture trapped underneath that shield, and that was one of the points that I kind of wanted to make here. And that is, if you can't get those shields off, you really can't get to the corrosion, nor can you make sure that this thing is dried out all the way. So it's very important to get the shielding off. And if you see that little rubber thing that's sitting inside of the metal piece, that used to work against us. It actually trapped moisture up against the logic board, so it's kind of a good thing they got rid of that. And of course, if you look very carefully here, you'll see that some of the corrosion is actually hidden down in the corner of that area. Overall though, I think you'll agree that it looks a little bit better than it did when we started. Of course, minus a lot of missing components that I was experimenting with. But had this been an otherwise functional board that we were treating for liquid damage, it would have a much better chance of surviving at this point. If you found the video helpful, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and check out our weekly Tech Talk live stream. Have a great one, and thanks for watching.